Good day, class. My name is Jovan Vargas, and I will be presenting our learning objectives for today. But before that, have you ever wondered how children's thinking and language develop as they grow? Now, here are our learning objectives for today. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to explain Jean Piaget's theory of language acquisition and stages of cognitive development through collaborative discussion. Analyze and discuss the relationship between a child's cognitive development and their language use within the context of Piaget's theory through guided group analysis. Generate and present real-life examples of children's language that illustrate each of Piaget's stages of development through mini-skit. These objectives will provide a clear guide for today's lesson and will help students understand and apply the key concept during the lesson.
Now, after watching the video about Piaget's theory of cognitive development, you were able to observe and understand how children's language develops as they grow. Now, let me ask you some questions. First, what differences did you notice in the way those children used language? Let's have Miss Coronel. Okay, very good. Younger children use simpler words and shorter sentences, while the older ones spoke more clearly, used complex grammar, and expressed ideas and stories in an organized way. Now, think about the way baby learns to talk. A 5-year-old tells a story and a teenager argues a point. Why do you think their language is so different? Let's have Mr. Alaba. Thank you. Yes, their language differs because as they grow, their brains, thinking skills, and experience develops, allowing them to understand more words, form better sentences, and express deeper thoughts. Last question. What do you think is changing inside their mind as they grow up that allows them to learn and use language in a more advanced way? Let me call on Miss Soliano. That's right. Child brains mature, memory improves, and thinking become more logical and abstract, which helps them to learn, organize, and use language effectively.
Welcome to our class. So, let's talk about the topic that we have for today, which is the Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Before we delve into the theory, let's talk about first the theorist or the person who's behind the theory. Now, Jean Piaget was a distinguished Swiss psychologist and genetic epistemologist, born on August 9, 1896 in Switzerland. He is best known for his groundbreaking theory of cognitive development, which explains how children's thinking and understanding evolve through distinct stages as they grow. Piaget's extensive research revealed that children are not passive learners but active constructors of knowledge, shaping their understanding through experience and exploration. Throughout his career, he published numerous influential works, including The Language and Thought of Children and The Origins of Intelligence in Children. His contributions have profoundly influenced the fields of psychology, education, and philosophy, earning him recognition as one of the most important figures in developmental psychology. He passed away on September 16, 1980 in Geneva, Switzerland.
Alright, so now we're going to discuss about John Piaget's 4 stages of development, cognitive development rather, which the first one will be the sensoromotor stage, the birth to 2 years. So during this stage, infants learn about the world through their senses and physical actions. They begin to understand object permanence, which means they realize that objects continue to exist even when they can't see them. So language use is minimal and mostly nonverbal, relying to gestures, sounds, and early words. So the second one will be the pre-operational stage, 2 to 2 years. So children in this stage starts to use symbols such as words and images to represent the objects. So their thinking is imaginative but not yet logical. So they often show egocentrism, meaning they struggle to see things from other people's perspectives, and animism, where they believe inanimate objects have feelings. So language develops rapidly and becomes expressive, though it may still lack logical structure. However, the language structure is already expressive. Alright, so now for the third one will be the concrete operational stage, which is 7 to 11 years. So at this stage, children begin to think logically about concrete events and objects. They understand concepts like conservation, where they realize that quantity remains the same despite changes in shape or appearance. So their language becomes more precise and structured, allowing them to explain ideas clearly and follow logical conversations. So the fourth one will be the formal operational stage, 12 years and beyond. So in this final stage, individuals develop the ability to think abstractly and reason about their hypothetical situations. They can form and test hypotheses, consider future possibilities, and reflect on their own thinking. So their language becomes more complex and philosophical. They are capable of expressing abstract ideas and engaging in persuasive or reflective dialogues. So that's all for me, guys. So the next one will be discussed by other teammates.
Okay, let's take a look in the concrete stage, which is the 7 to 11 years old. What do you see in the picture? Okay, very good insights. In the concrete operational stage, we start building logical foundations, understand that things aren't always as they appear in powers to solve real world problems. So think about a time when you used logical to solve a problem. How did how did it feel to figure it out?
Good day, everyone. So, for the application, let's bring Piaget's cognitive development stage to life. You'll work in a group and then pick a stage and create a mini skit where a child uses language in a way that shows one of the stages, which is sensory, preparational, concrete, and formal.
Great job, everyone! So now get one for sheet of paper. To make sure the ideas are clear, let's answer some questions related to our topic.
Okay, now class, for your assignment, you have to interview one parent in your neighborhood about how their child learned to think as they grow up. After that interview, in your one half crosswise, write a 3 to 5 sentence reflection explaining what you learned and how it relates to Jean Piaget's theory of language acquisition and stages of cognitive development. Okay, thank you and goodbye, class.
Alright, since we've done our discussion, let's go back to the activity we've done earlier. Now, the first and the second photo shows the sensory motor because the baby is curious about things using five senses to discover, to explore, to learn things. Now, the third photo belongs to operational stage. The fourth photo belongs to concrete operational because as you can see, the boy is um, trying to get the quantity of each fruit. Now, the last photo belongs to formal operational stage because um, it shows the adolescent's development of abstract thinking. Thank you.